Chapter 3. The Black Hills Expedition. In 1874, Custer led an expedition into the Black Hills, a sacrosanct region for the Lakota Sioux, where their creation stories place the birth of humankind. Custer's mission was twofold: scout locations for a new fort and search for traces of gold.
Now, the Lakota considered these hills holy ground, the center of their spiritual world, but with miners clamoring for gold, the Army and Custer couldn't resist taking a peek.
As Custer's forces cut through the heart of the Black Hills, they uncovered small deposits of gold. Custer was pressed by fellow officers to downplay the discovery to avoid unrest, but he eagerly publicized news of the gold, seeing opportunities for profit and glory. Custer justified their incursion as legal since the Army appropriated the land. But his true motives were laid bare in dispatches urging the seizure of the Black Hills. His reports sparked a wildfire. Within months, thousands of miners invaded the sacred Lakota Territory.
Custer lit the fuse to a powder keg with that expedition. And he might have claimed it was all legal, but he knew full well the hornet's nest he was stirring up with the Sioux.
The Lakota looked on helplessly as their spiritually revered lands were overtaken. The summer of 1874 baked the Dakota plains under an unrelenting sun, but in the days ahead, an even hotter fire would ignite. George Armstrong Custer had an insatiable appetite for glory, and his hungry gaze was fixed due west upon the pine-cloaked ridges of the Black Hills, the Pahasapa. 20 years later, a wealthy mining promoter hired New York attorney Charles E. Rushmore to visit the Black Hills and confirm his company's land claims. During one visit, Rushmore saw a mountain that the Lakota called Six Grandfathers and asked his guide the mountain's name. The guide replied that the mountain didn't have a name, but that it would henceforth be named after Rushmore. The name Mount Rushmore continued to be used locally and was officially recognized by the United States Board of Geographic Names in June 1930. Custer had heard whispers in the wind of golden riches buried beneath the Lakota's sacred ground. Some called it fool's gold, but Custer aimed to stake his claim, guided by ambitions far more earthly than spiritual. When Washington ordered Custer to lead an exploratory force, he assembled his band of rough and ready cavalrymen. With banners of American Manifest Destiny flying high, they ventured forth into lands guaranteed by treaty to the great Sioux nation. Their footsteps soon unearthed traces of gold in the crystalline streams, rumors redeemed. But Custer understood more than sacred oaths had now been broken. His prospectors' pans had tilted the scales of history.
Well, what you have to understand is that since the dawn of time, men of otherwise good enough character, especially those who also behaved with a bit of gumption in the case of Custer, have pursued the promise of plunder, and they'd often regret it. Of that, there's no doubt. I believe it was Napoleon who said around 60 years before the familiar treaty violation, back when he found himself with a couple 100,000 ghosts after that disaster in Russia. Fortune has dazzled me. A couple thousand years before that, Caesar said, "The die is cast." This was nothing new, you see.